Hey, howdy, hi. So today we are doing a chain maintenance video on the bike. I went through and I washed it yesterday, and I noticed when I was washing it, my chain was looking kind of gross. Other thing too, when you wash your bike, typically it's a good idea to clean and re-lube your chain, because a lot of the times the soap and water will strip off the protective coating on your chain. So anyways, figured today would be a good day to do that. It was somewhat nice. It's starting to get kind of crappy now, so I might have to try and hurry through this. But yeah, we're gonna clean the chain, inspect it, throw some new coating on it, and then readjust it as well. So I'm gonna try and get all that in one video. We're gonna do this instead because my MSF Day 2 course that I recorded, the footage is, it's not terrible footage, it's not great footage. Overall, I'm just not really happy with it, so I just want to go refilm it. I just have to wait for a decent day, better than today, and then I'm going to go out and refilm all that. So, also, I got a tripod now too, so that'll really help. But anyways, let's get into it. Alright, so, first things first, grab your bottle of Chain Clean. I use this Maxima stuff. I actually really like their brand. I use their engine oil as well. Just some pretty good quality stuff, and they typically sell a 3-pack of their entire like chain cleaning kit. It's like probably like 40 bucks. So pretty convenient, and like I said, super easy to use, and they make some good stuff. So, but you can use whatever you want. There's Motul out there. I've used that before. The only thing I don't like about the Motul is I've noticed it will stain your concrete, your garage floor, your bike stuff, which is why I have this thing here. You don't want to get any of this stuff on your tire. But with all that being said, we're going to get started on this. So to start cleaning your chain, you want to make sure that your chain is cold. Essentially, just don't go out and ride your bike and then come back and be like, oh, I'm going to clean my chain now. Let your bike sit for a little while, because this needs to be like at ambient temperatures. Like I said, make sure you have your little blocker here. And what you're going to do, I don't know how well my blocker is actually going to work, because normally I have like a pizza box that I just cut out with the axle and I slide it on there and I don't have to touch it. But you're just going to spray and rotate. And you know, if you get a little bit on your tire too, it's not like, not the end of the world. I love how the wind's blowing in my direction now. Right in my face. Beautiful. Could probably use some safety glasses and wear this just so it doesn't get in your eye, because I'm pretty sure this would be great in your eyeballs. Alright, so now that that is pretty coated, let's sit for a few minutes, or like, I don't know, a minute or two. Next thing you want to do, grab yourself a little brush, and you're going to come over to move it right there. So about this area is typically where I like to try and clean my chains at. So I'm going to rotate this a little bit more, make sure everything's nice and coated, lubricated, all that fun jazz. Okay, so it looks like I got everything, and so now you're just gonna start scrubbing. Make sure you, I don't have gloves, so this is gonna kind of suck, but make sure you get that backside And you're basically just gonna do this the whole way around the chain. I don't know if everyone knows this, but your motorcycle chain is not like a bicycle chain. You've got gaskets in these things. But yeah, we're just gonna go through and scrub-a-dub-dub a little bit more, make sure everything's all nice and clean. A little difficult because I'm doing this with my left hand. Perfect. Okay, now that that's done, next step, let me go grab my water. Definitely works if you have, I should say it's better if you have a hose. Unfortunately, I live in an apartment and I don't have access to a hose, so I'm gonna show you what I do. You're gonna take a cup of cold water. Yes, it's inconvenient, but you're gonna pretty much just pour it over your chain just like that. And this is gonna help wash all the nasty bits out. And you're probably gonna have to go fill your water back up, because that's what I'm gonna have to go do. So I'm gonna roll it back a little bit, go fill up my water, come back, try some more. Okay, now that you got more water, go get yourself more water. Ew, now you have to step in the milky grossness. But there's a dude over here in a Volkswagen just like bumping some tunes. And it just reminds me of that Euro beat from like Super Troopers. Okay. Now we've done that. Start pouring your water back on. Make sure it's all nice and clean. Guess what? You need more water. After your 7th trip inside for water, and being harassed by your super whiny cat who wants attention all the time, now you can come back out and finish this. Fantastic. Now you're gonna take a cup of water, your 7th cup of water, and you're gonna pour it back on the chain without dropping the water. Guess what? You need more water. I hope you guys have hoses, because I don't have more water. I don't remember using this much water. Alrighty then. Also, I really hope this video turns out pretty well, because I'm trying to film a YouTube video and a TikTok at the same time. Get yourself into position and start pouring your water. More water. Okay, I got the water. Somewhere on TikTok, I'm sure there's a small AI data center that's just watching me pour this water out. And they're like, damn. Look at all that water. Behold, steady streams. Okay, perfect. Now, calling that good, because the water that's coming off that is all clean. Whee! Alright, see how that's all nice and clean, nice and birdie looking, except for that. Don't look at that, we'll get to that shortly. In the meantime, look at that. Nice and clean. Okay, so now we're gonna dry it off. Now that you've used up enough water to supply a small data center, I'm gonna take your microfiber cloth here, and you're gonna dry the chain up the best you can. Next step. So I'm going to use the chain wax. So this is a sealant and your protectant. It's also the lube. So after your chain's dry and you've gone through and you've cleaned it, basically the same process as when we were spraying the cleaner on it. You're spraying it and then rotating your wheel. So we're going to do that. Again, try not to let this stuff get on your tire, because it is not good. Now to use this, it says to spray liberally, but avoid oversaturation. So a little contradicting in my opinion. Okay. Well, cleaning aspects done. Looks pretty good. I still have to go through and adjust it because that's way too much slack. So, but before I do that, I'm actually going to drop the bike and put it into the garage so I can do my chain adjustments and stuff inside. Have an errand to run before I can finish that. But that's where we're at. So, almost done. Hooray. Okay, so now we're all set up in the garage. We're going to start adjusting the chain and get that slack out and put it back into spec. So first thing we got to do is take this cotter pin out. That's probably not going to work. It's bent a little bit more than I thought. When you take your cotter pins out, you always want to make sure that you got new ones. And I'm guilty for this too, so I can. But usually, you don't ever want to reuse your old cotter pins. Go get yourself some new cotter pins, toss out your old ones. Inch and a quarter. Alright, so now we got that loose. Wrenches, some regular wrenches. Not that size, because that's too small. Okay, so mine is a 12 mil. Okay, now that I got those loose. So normally, I have a tool that you put kind of on your swing arm and you measure the slack in your chain, and you kind of adjust it from there. But I seem to have misplaced it when I moved to said apartment. You can do this with a tape measure. Similarly to both sides. I'm sure someone's gonna jump on here and be like, well, that's not how you do it. You don't want your chain too tight. You do want some slack in it. Where did my wrench just go? Perfect. Bounce back and forth. Basically, you're just gonna hit that bolt. Again, you're gonna use these lines, kind of line them up. Instead of trying to grab the wheel and pull it back, I just use those nuts, or sorry, those bolts, and just kind of start slowly backing it off. And that will move your wheel. You know, like I'll do like 2 or 3 on that side and then I'll jump over to this side. That way I'm trying to pretty much stay pretty even. And I know some people are gonna be like, that's not how you do that. But you know what? That's how I've been doing it, and it really hasn't had any issues with it. So then I do have another tool. This thing is, I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's actually like a really cheap little tool. So I don't actually use it very often. But it's basically just kind of like a block and a rod. And the way that I was taught to use this is you stick it on your sprocket and you kind of just line the chain up and make sure. It's kind of like a laser system. The lasers obviously are way nicer because they go all the way to the front. But yeah, you just slap this thing on and then line it up. So I'm gonna take this cover off real quick and we'll line this up and make sure that's all set. And then once that is set, then we can start tightening everything down. I was sitting there re-watching my footage and I realized that when my battery died and I was checking the alignment of my chain, that's also when I was checking the adjustment of my slack, how much slack I have. So I didn't get any of that on camera, so I'm going to show you guys this real quick. Now normally I have a slack tool that works a little bit better. When I find it, I'll show you guys how to use that too. It's pretty easy. But this is, I'm just going to show you guys with like a tape measure. The slack tolerance for the ZX6R is about, I want to say it was like 30 millimeters, which is roughly about an inch. So, and that's typically about where I use my adjustments at. So the way I do this, hopefully you guys can see this. So instead of going down to like 1 inch right there, I kind of go down to about there, roughly in the middle, and I move it up. It's not a very good display because I'm using a tape measure that you use for like clothing and stuff, not an actual tape measure. But when you use an actual tape measure, it sits where it's supposed to. That is the idea. You just kind of clip it onto your sprocket, and then you're just making sure that the chain, you're eyeballing it still. You're still like just looking at it and like, ah, yeah, that looks like it lines up all the way. You could probably just go get a laser pointer from like the dollar store and just figure out how to like strap it down on the top of your sprocket when you do your chain and just make sure the chain stays with that laser. Talking so much now I got hiccups. So now that that's done, Gahoochie, tighten these bolts up. So I'm gonna put a wrench on that. Sorry, there's like people talking outside my garage and it's weird. And then you're just gonna tighten that and lock it in place, just like that. And now you torque this thing down. All right, so the torque spec on this axle is 95 foot-pounds. So I usually do my torques in like 3 cycles. So I'm gonna start at like 70 foot-pounds of torque and torque that down. Okay. Now I'm gonna go up to 85 foot-pounds of torque. And torque it there. And now I'm gonna do 95. Okay. I'll do a little bit more to get the, these are castle nuts, and so because I need to be able to make sure that the cotter pin gets through, I just had to go over just a little bit so I can get my cotter pin through these like little slots. Yoink. All right, just like that. Okay, so now we're all done. Hooray! Had to change out the cotter pin because the first one I grabbed was too small. Okay, super sweet. Awesome, we're all set. I hope this video turns out super great because I realized while I'm doing stuff, I don't say very much, and I apologize, but I'm gonna work on that. Anyways, chain's all done, bike's all clean. Now we're fresh and ready to ride. So, I'm gonna get this down off the stand and I'm gonna go take it for a test ride. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys learned some stuff. Enjoy the beautiful day and ride safe. See you guys on the next video.